Yeah.
I don't want no makeup. I was just talking.
OMG.
He was just playing.
He was just playing. That's my boo boo right there.
Thank you, ladies.
So, welcome to Hot Topic Shock Radio TV. I'm Toni Breedlove, and of course, joined by the very beautiful, the incomparable Miss Yvonne Baker. And also welcoming to the scene, Mr. Chris Smith from
You already know it is. KV done made it to your show.
KV done made it to Hot Topics. Gosh, darn it.
America.
Moving on up, Chris.
Coming up in the world. Donald Trump couldn't hold me.
So how you guys doing? What the hell was that, Chris? What's going on with that camera?
Okay, look. It's a lot going on with this camera, but I'll tell you like this. Just keep doing the show and act like ain't nothing going on. That's what you're supposed to do. You ain't supposed to call it out. You're supposed to just
Oh my gosh. Well, as Chris tries to adjust, we're going to move right on. But tonight we are coming back in the 2019 season. And I tell you, it has been a while since that we have been on. I think it's been, what, 2.5 months, Yvonne?
At least.
Yeah, it has been, huh?
Yeah.
I had a long-ass vacation.
Yeah, longest ever. I think everybody was on burnout. I really do. I think people were on burnout.
Yes.
But I am really, really glad to be back. So did you guys enjoy your holiday? Hey, hang on. Chris, you might want to just go out and come back in, my love.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do then. I'm out of here. See y'all soon.
All right. See how it happens with the new host? Oh, my God. Did you enjoy your time off?
I did.
Good. Anything special?
No.
No,
I didn't get married or meet anybody new. Well, I did, but...
Well, you would have to meet someone new to get married.
Oh, is that how that
works? Oh, my gosh. Well, I know that I am just glad to be back, spend some time with my grandbaby, with family, spending money. That kind of thing. But I'm just glad to be back. Huh?
What is money?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any left. So Chris is back. So Chris, did you enjoy your time off?
I definitely did. I said, man, when life hits you, it hits you hard. But, had to recover from some surgeries and changes at work. So,
yeah.
Everything maintained, everything balanced out. So
Good. Well, tonight we are coming back with a blockbusting show. We're going to be discussing the very famous docuseries, Surviving R. Kelley, which had aired on Lifetime in 6 segments, 2 per night, 3-night series.
I only got 3 or 4.
They was damn near saying the same stuff in every single show. They would just bring another person in.
They said that the last 2 was hot.
It was.
I was intending on watching it, but I didn't get it.
Yeah. You know what? I think that if you're old enough to know the history of R. Kelley and Aaliyah and how all of this started when he first signed, to the label and got his record deal and all that, then you would understand, I think, more in depth of, how long this has been going on. This has been going on for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who are coming up, who might be about, 20 years old, 24 years old, somewhere in that age range, I don't think they understand the history to R. Kelley.
Well, think about it, even to a certain degree. I mean, everything that happened, we kind of forgot too, because, think about it. How long did that whole period stretch out? We're talking almost 5 years before it got brought back into court.
Right. Right. So, but just to go back a little bit, because I know we only have an hour and I'm going to try and keep this to an hour. And it's a lot to try and cover in an hour when you had six.
Look, I was going to say, you ain't going to crucify everybody on the network? Okay, you got crucified. Why you can't crucify them?
Well, I want to try and give some history. Okay. Give a little history. So we know that R. Kelley, of course, came from Chicago, grew up in Chicago, comes from a family of, I think it was, he had two brothers, and one sister. If you had a chance to look up stop it, Chris.
If you had a sister, but they ain't talking about her.
Yeah, if you had an opportunity to kind of do a little research and a background on the family itself, then you would have learned from YouTube videos that one of the brothers had come on and he did an interview, a podcast interview, and it was in relation to how all of these things had transpired. Mm-hmm. And so it was said that in the interview he did on this podcast that his sister was the one who had started molesting him as a young boy and molesting the brother that was doing the interview. So before we get into the background and the history of that, we have to kind of like go forward at least by 10 years. Right. And we have to address the fact that, even after his abuses, then those things transposed and transpired into him becoming an abusive person too, with, kind of weird sexual proclivities, right? So for those that don't know, or I'm sure you've heard of Aaliyah, if you're at the age of 20 and your early 20s, you've heard of Aaliyah, but you might not have known the background of her. She and her family had sought out to get her a record deal. She was 13 when she first started dabbling into the music. She then was able to come across a manager who was managing R. Kelley, who then said, okay, I got this girl I want you to meet. You got to hear her, blah, blah, blah. She was still at 13. As time went on for the next 2 years, they ended up working together. He was putting some music out for her. But in the background, we didn't realize or know that at 15, she was having sex with this grown man who was at that time, I think, 24, 25 years old.
27.
27. Okay. Thank you, Chris. So then you come to the point of them having a sexual relationship. Then all of a sudden it is said that she had gotten pregnant. He decides to marry her. He marries her at the age of 15, but she lies on the marriage certificate in order to make this marriage legal, which it really wasn't if you had lied.
Who lied?
But wait a minute.
Both of them lied.
Didn't her mother sign for them to get married?
No, because if they falsified the document stating she was 18, she was at legal age per Chicago law.
Right.
So there was no need for a parental signature. So,
okay.
So now that we fast forwarded to that. Now, is it just me, or do you guys feel that back then, when we're just talking about Aaliyah, do you think that the parents knew that this girl at the age of 15, and even probably before that, was sleeping with a grown man?
I'm going to let you go, Yvonne. I'll let you go.
No, you know what? No, you go right ahead, Chris.
Okay, so see, I'm from that era. So at the end of the day, when a lot of the news was coming out about that, there was a lot of speculation. So everybody was trying to figure out, were they really married? What was really going on in that situation? I mean, that single age ain't nothing but a number kind of told it all. And, they were dressing alike always around. And, my thing was, you don't see grown men hanging out with little girls. And, women, mothers, they know better than that. So my thing was, when it was happening, you kind of already knew what was going on. Now, did we know that they were having sex? I mean, you would automatically assume. I mean, listen to his music, you understand how he carries himself, and not to mention, her vibe was more of a sexual type of, innocent, cute, but sexual at the same time. So, I mean, come on, she's playing with fire. Now, at the end of the day, it was up to him as a grown man to understand she's a kid. So, no. But at the end of the day, he wasn't grown enough to put himself out of that situation. But we know there's a lot of men in this world that do the same thing. And not to justify it for him, but we're not going to act like this is the first time this has ever happened either.
Right. Right. And you know what? Hey, Tasha Renee makes a point. She says that her mother claimed that her daughter wasn't married to Kelley, but wasn't she the one who got the marriage annulled? And
Yes.
that is correct. That is correct. That is correct.
100%.
See, and
that's another situation of Black people lying.
Exactly. So that's why I was asking, do you think that these folks or her parents or folks knew all along what was going on? Because you're talking about money that is changing hands, money that is going to be a part of that's going to be now their daughter's money, which they would control because she's not 21. And in the music industry, they have to be 21 in order to have all of this money without it being doled out. Because they put it basically in trust. And then the parents then are the ones who say, okay, well, here's your allowance. Excuse me. Here's your allowance. Here's the money that you made on this, that, and the other. Here, go buy a pair of socks. That's the way they do it, but they have total control of that money.
Exactly.
Tasha Renee again says, when you write these long comments, Miss Tasha, I can't put them up, but I'm going to read it.
She got to get it.
Tasha Renee says, honestly, I think that the mother had an idea. Her daughter was rising to fame, and what better way to get her on the charts than to take money from the connections? You're right. It happens a lot in the music industry. I spent a lot of time in that industry.
Yep.
And I understand exactly how it works. Exactly how it works.
And that's the part that bothered me a lot about this because, even and no disrespect, because I can never really say that if these girls really went through that or not. So I mean no disrespect, but at the end of the day, I'm entitled to my opinion, so I will tell you my opinion. When I hear someone say, well, I was treated like this and all he did was this to me and I was so unhappy. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. So you telling me y'all ain't never went to dinner? He ain't never bought you clothes? You telling me he just kept you in the house, didn't give you nothing, and yet you continue to come back? I call
exactly.
I see it. And it's like I said, it's not to say that she probably wasn't getting abused in certain ways, but let's not act like the whole time you were with him was just pure hell and I didn't eat and he never took care of me. You had some good moments too. So let's not just make it seem like it's all bad.
So, you know what?
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yvonne.
You know what? I don't understand. Okay, so these women, girls, they weren't tied up or chained up. He wasn't there 100% of the time. I didn't see when the mother went there to get her daughter from the hotel. Why she opened the door? So all of this was the girl opened the door at the hotel. So if all of this is is happening, and they're being starved and they're not being able to go eat or they can't do that, why didn't they just leave? I know he was a master manipulator, but
let me ask you this question. What Black mama do you know that when she opened that door with snatched her by hand, you get your ass on out of there? Got me looking up.
Exactly.
What mama do you know that wouldn't act like that?
Exactly.
Oh, you want me to come back at 6? I wish I would tell my mom. Come back at 6.
What is wrong with you?
I'm a grown ass man and I still wouldn't tell my mama to come back at 6.
Right, 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 right. So let's see. Tasha Renee again says, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. And her mom, I guess she was saying she was sorry because she wrote a long comment. I don't know. And her mom can say what she wants to say, but I'll say she was well aware of what was going on, especially if it was going to benefit them for a period of time. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't see, or I missed it or something, but how did she know that her daughter was in a hotel?
So they had a TMZ type of it was TMZ. They had caught one of the girls that I forget her name. Her name was what is it? It wasn't the Savage family. I don't remember which one it was, but it was the girl that did the interview, basically saying she wasn't being held against her will, and she was
That was the girl from the Savage family.
right. So what? Okay, so her.
Sparkle or Sparkle?
Sparkle, yeah.
Okay, so Sparkle. So what happened was her mom seen that her daughter was with her when they were interviewing her when she was on the street. So she was already coming out there to do, I guess, the Surviving R. Kelly. She was going to come out here for this, but she was like, since I'm out here and I know my daughter's here, I'm going to look for her while I'm out here since I am out here. It just makes sense for me to do both. I don't know no mother that would say it makes sense to do both, but that's a whole nother story. Anyways. So what ended up happening was she reached out to TMZ, and I guess they found out certain spots where they stay at different hotels. So that's how she was able to kind of track her daughter.
Okay. And you know what? And I think Sparkle had a lot to do with getting girls for him.
You know what? I kind of think the same thing too, Yvonne. I really do, because she had been with R. Kelly in this camp for the longest.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I just found this out today, but I don't know if it's true. Somebody was telling me that she used to talk to R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And they were sleeping together.
Yes.
She was young when they got together.
Yes. Yeah. Because when he picked her up to produce her, they had become an item.
Right.
And so that was years ago.
If she's been around this all this time, because they even made it clear she's one of the day ones. So my thing is, she's seen a lot of stuff. Why the hell wouldn't she have reached out to her niece's mom the moment she claimed she came and she was just there? So my thing is, I would have thought the next step would have been like, she goes to the parents and you say, you don't leave her with him. He does some crazy stuff. He's nasty. Okay. Don't leave her with him.
Right. But see, you're looking at people who had, from a broad spectrum. Right. From the R. Kelly camp, from a very broad spectrum, from the producers to the makeup artists to the stylists, to the executives, to secretaries. All of these people knew
security.
Exactly they knew exactly what was going on. But now you're
to him.
Right. But now you're talking about over time, what has made these people have a come to Jesus moment?
Because they don't want to get their asses in jail.
No, money.
Because something has to be coming down the pipeline for all of this now to start to be so serious, when it was serious in the very beginning. We're talking about a pedophile who would hang out at high schools. Who the fuck does that?
You got the teachers talking about, I would see him up here.
Exactly. You got to, well, one of his music teachers said, oh, well, I just hope that,
the basketball teacher.
Exactly. You got these people who knew, and they said nothing.
And so the one Craig, what was it? Craig Williams, or was that his name?
I think so.
I think so.
Now you tell me, now this man has seen him in action multiple times. He walked in when these kids was naked, a whole room full of girls naked, and one bent over, and he's feeling on her butt, and he's like, "Oh, I can't be in here. I gotta go."
You turn a blind eye, and these are children. These are children.
You know,
that was the thing that I
for an ID to see that they were 18.
That's what he said. That's what he tried to say. He said, it's not like I was checking IDs or anything, but they looked young. And yet,
You
you
know,
allow
when you see a child, you know what a child looks like.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't care if she's got, developing her breast and she's got the small breast buds or whatever. You know what a child looks like. You
Well,
don't have to check no damn IDs.
the funny thing is, every single person around that camp told on themselves. They were all
Exactly. They
guilty
were
to some,
complicit in
to some
everything.
extent.
Yes.
I'll tell you one that I thought was real funny, and he admitted to it, and he probably shouldn't have, or he probably didn't even realize he was doing it. The security guy. He said, "Yeah, he used to film everything.
Yeah.
I was privy to seeing
Hmm.
some of those videos."
But then Kelley said, "Man, I need help. I need to stop filming myself all the time."
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah.
But
And
that was that was only when that he
That
knew
tape came
that
out.
those tapes were coming out and he knew that the authorities were onto him. But I don't think he realized that even he had the authorities, he was in their pocket, or they were in, he had them in their pocket.
Yeah.
Because he was paying the people off.
Yeah.
They even said that those claims or complaints would come to the police station. Women were looking for their children. They
Mm-hmm.
knew where they were,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't get involved. So they knew.
There's a lot of people that's guilty in this situation, and my thing is this: I don't know what really went down, but at the end of the day, I don't think you can lie that many times. 21 people ain't coming out just bullshit. Let's just say that right then and there. So my thing is, yes, he should go down for something, and I hope they do find something. But also on the back end, I want everybody that was on these shows to go down with it, because there's a lot of people that incriminated their own selves and don't even realize they did it.
They were complicit,
Mm-hmm.
because okay, put it this way: they knew about it. Homeboy says he walks into a room with a room full of girls who are naked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robert Kelley is feeling on her butt.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes you think that you will not be part of a prosecution?
Oh yeah.
If that's where this is going. Because already we're at a point where they've already canceled shows. He's not touring.
No.
My favorite part was when his manager said, "Yeah, I falsified Aaliyah's age on the marriage certificate." I said, "That brother's stupid. Get that brother the stupid award here."
Just dumb as hell. Just dumb as hell.
You can go to jail at any time for that.
Let's see. Yolanda Polk says, "I do not care what y'all say. They were all sick because they all knew what was going on." And that's
what we're saying.
And I thank you for that, saying that, because I want to talk about the proclivities of sexual behavior when it is based on children.
Right.
That's some sick shit.
It is. But can I make one point?
Mm-hmm.
So while I was watching, because I watched his brother Kerry do his interview, and I watched Bruce do his, and there was a lot of sexual harassment going on in their family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kelley said, what's his name? Robert said he was molested from the age of
Six.
Six to, I think, 6 or something like that.
Robert
was up to 14. It was up to 14.
Right.
Up to age 14. Now, Kerry said he was molested from age 6. But nobody said that the older brother, Bruce, was molested.
They said he wasn't.
You could tell he was.
But see, you know what? What I think is that, because he said that Robert said that he had been molested by several family members. I think not only was the sister molesting him, but the brother was molesting him.
Older brother?
Yes.
You think so?
I think he was. But he, whatever the case was, even without the brother, he enjoyed having the sex with the sister. That's where all of this came into play. And then as he grew older and the sex stopped, if you notice, his prey is always on girls that's around the age where he had stopped being molested.
Yeah.
Age 13, 14.
You know, one thing I thought was interesting, they went through the whole details of telling who was all in their family, brothers and sisters, and yet never talked about the sister. Not one time.
Gary did.
In what part did he say? Because I
Not
don't
in the
really
one,
talk about
not in the one,
He didn't go into much detail about anything.
not in the one that was surviving R. Kelly. He had a separate interview with I can't remember. It was a black lady that was interviewing him.
Yeah, I saw that.
But what I'm
And
saying is on the show. On the show, they went out of their way to say it's us, it's her, then it's me, and they never talked about her.
On that, he never did.
How can you do the history if you don't?
The girl, I don't know, but he called her name Teresa. She was the one that started he was telling this interviewer how she would never have them in the house at the same time. She would send them out. He would stay in. She would just make up some reason why he couldn't go out, and that's when she would start doing her whatever she felt like she wanted him to do.
I saw that interview too. He said, I guess she was molesting him from 6 to 10?
From
6 to 10.
And the thing was, he was even saying how at times he would beg his mom not to go to work.
Yes.
He knew like, she was going to do what she was going to do.
Right.
But you know what's interesting, did any of you guys see that interview where R. Kelly was talking about he wanted to marry his mom?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, so that's why I said it, and I just saw that this week. So you got to do some Googling to find some stuff. But it's weird because it's a short interview, and he basically talked about as a kid, his mom used to drink coffee. So what he said was, when she would leave, he would grab her cup of coffee, and it's funny because he bagged on his own mama, talking about because she wore cheap lipstick. So he was basically saying her lipstick would come off on the cup, and he would drink off of her lipstick from the cup. And he had once told his mom, I wanted to marry her. And then she said, well, he said, and of course she said no, but at the same time, like I loved her that much. I hope you guys find it because, like I said, when I saw that, I tripped out because I said, damn, it was a lot of nasty, weird shit going on in this family.
And that's so sad. That's what's so sad, because although, who was it that made the comment just a moment ago? Shanice Daniels said molestation or rape does not give you a pass to do it to others. It really doesn't.
You know what? It really don't. But
it's a learned behavior.
Yes, it is a learned behavior. And he even said in one of his I guess it was his song or something he just dropped was that, why didn't somebody stop me 30 years ago?
Yeah.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and I think that's the problem. He's this, your past comes into your adulthood. Your childhood, what happens to you in your childhood comes to you in your adulthood. And some people just cannot get over what happened to them, so they bring it on into their adult life, and they think it's okay.
Yeah,
that's what they've grown to know.
Well, see, and I was gonna say this, and I'm cautious with how I say it because I almost feel like sometimes people think that I'm sympathizing for him, but you have to understand, all of this stuff went on in his life, and he projected that on someone else's life. And the people that were around him, the people that are supposed to love him and care for him and look after him, were supposed to stop and say something about that. He's a fucked up individual. And somebody in his camp was supposed to stop that. But because they kept turning a blind eye or helping, you had people even admitting to, I was going to get the girls for him. Hell, this dude was so slick with how he was doing it. If you notice, he never went and approached the young girls on his own. He sent somebody else to get them.
Somebody else.
He gave me the number. R. Kelly wants you to call him tonight.
Right.
And it's like, they helped him. And it's like, how do you expect a man to change and to be better and do better when all these people did was enable him and cripple him? And like I said, that's not to make an excuse. He's a dirty mother. Like, he's every word in the Bible, not in the Bible, like God said Bible, but he's every dirty word you can come up with.
Yeah, because Shanice says that it is a learned behavior. However, at 27, he knew what was right and what was not right. And I agree with that, because if he felt that it was okay, if he felt that what he was doing was normal, then he wouldn't have to hide and lock these girls up in a house.
He did hide. They weren't locked in the house. They had freedom to
well, maybe I'm using the wrong term. They
no. You did.
You
just did right now. You let that brainwash tell you. This is what the show was basically projecting.
Yeah,
they were locked in. They couldn't go nowhere.
That's what I said. He was a master manipulator.
Right. So
he could manipulate the hell out of these girls.
Right. So with that being said, then do you believe that they were actually brainwashed? Because that is what they have been saying, and what do they call it? Stockholm syndrome. Mm-hmm. So you believe that they were brainwashed?
Okay, and I'll tell you this, and Toni, you should know this all well, because like you said, you've been around the scene, you know the entertainment business. R. Kelly did the same thing these men do to grown women when they trying to become stars.
Exactly.
Star. Hey, girl, you stick with me, you can go far in life. All you got to do is roll with me. His problem is that his nasty ass problem was that he was doing it with young girls. But
let me tell you,
because these girls were like, "Well, I was going to be a star." Girl,
exactly.
Everybody back then was told the same shit.
Because you know what, and I was really hoping that Shonda and I have been friends forever, and we were business partners when we were in the industry. And if you had seen some of the shit that we have seen, you'd be like, what the fuck? Because we had refused to work with certain people, certain production companies, because we knew what was going on. There were times where we would take an artist, or even, okay, let me back up. Even when I would go and do contract negotiations and have contracts signed, some of the production people, some of the executives, yeah, baby, you look good. You know, I'll sign it. I can give you an extra $1,000, $2,000 in there in that contract if you know you want to do a certain something. You know, that's what that was about. Yeah. And I'd get my ass up and I'd walk out. Yeah. I left a lot of money on the table because
how many women would do that? Be honest.
Not many. Not many. There's quite a few of them in the industry I still know that got there that way.
I'll tell you like this. One thing that was interesting that was not a surprise was when some of the guys would say, yeah, we would go into his house. He'd have a woman over here. He'd have a woman in this room. He'd have a woman. I went to so many parties where celebrities would actually let the girls go off in a whole different part of the house. And they would all be separated because guess what? They was doing whatever they was doing. So when I heard that, I was like, that ain't nothing new. That's what celebrities do.
That's what they do. That is what they do.
Well, I've never been privy to that, but I watch it on TV.
But it is. It's a horrible industry, and so many people are just dying to get in it. They are doing everything in their power to be a part of an industry that is chock full of abuse. That's all it is. It's abuse. It's it's ugly. It's ugly.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, and not until they get in there can they really see that you are basically selling your soul to the devils in that industry.
That's how you make it. That's how most people.
That's how most of them make it. You are selling your soul to do some of the most unspeakable acts, things that that are wrong. And it doesn't matter. Exactly. And that's what I think bothered me so much about knowing that these were young girls and the parents would allow them to go off with a grown-ass man, A grown ass man.
I'll tell you certain people I didn't pray for was the older women that came after all of the allegations and all of that, talking about, well, and he made me believe this. I said, girl, shut your ass up. You done read the tabloids. You know what this man about. You know what your friends said
Exactly.
about. She talking about, well, when my friends would bring up certain things. Well, why would you bring that up about him? Girl, because it's true. So I didn't feel sorry for none of the older ones. You just was stupid. You got what you deserve.
No.
And I don't mean to say it like that, but it is what it is.
And and that wife of his, I can't stand that heifer.
OMG. The wife.
The wife. She's over here. She's talking about him like a dog. But that song, did you get that song? I
saw the video where she was, finger popping to the music. That's my baby daddy. That's my baby daddy. I'm like, what the hell?
See, the only thing is, she was probably the only one I really kind of I believed. And I'll be honest with you, I have to step back, because sometimes as a man you can talk too much and you don't know nothing about a woman. And somebody was telling me something that same day I was watching it, and it was just how men have a psychological hold over a woman. And sometimes there are things that we can do where we just have them basically locked in, and all they really want is the relationship. So they're willing to do anything and everything. That's something I can't identify with. So that's something I had to step back and really respect, because I'm not a woman. I cannot understand how a woman operates. So I don't choose to disrespect a woman for not leaving, because I have no one. For me, it's common sense. If you're being treated wrong, just leave. But it's not that easy.
But it's not that simple. And that's where I kind of wanted to use the latter part of the show to talk about the parallels. Because what we see in the media when we talk about R. Kelley in this docuseries, right? We talk about the issues of abuse. Some of them have claimed that they were there and they were having to stay in a room and knock and ask for permission to leave. Some of them had a bucket in the room where they used that as a bathroom facility. Some of them said that they were not allowed to eat if they did not perform sexual acts that he was asking them to perform. So there's a parallel with what we see in R. Kelley and what we see every day when we talk about domestic abuse or child abuse. There's a clear parallel that everything that we saw in R. Kelley's docuseries to what goes on every day. Every day. And nobody wants to talk about it. They want to keep it in the dark because it's a nasty secret. It's not a nasty secret, because you got to think of the fact that a lot of women who are in these situations where you say, why not just leave? No, because they have been conditioned to think that they cannot leave, to think that there is a lock on that door, to think that, yes, he is going to kill me. So they're not going to walk out.
Hey, welcome to a long-time relationship. Everybody goes through that.
Everybody goes through something. But with what you were saying, that, it's hard to sometimes imagine that a woman can't walk out. They feel that they cannot leave. Yvonne and I have done shows. We did a huge domestic violence show. What was this, about 4 or 5 years ago, 5 years ago? And we heard unspeakable things that men had done to women, stabbing them, trying to kill them in the street in front of their children, things of that nature, So does what we see with the R. Kelley situation, does it get worse to a point where he might hurt someone physically and eventually kill someone, starve them to death?
Because of this?
Pardon?
Are you talking about because of this show?
No, just looking at how they line up.
I mean, of course, the answer should be yes, because it's typical behavior for all of the other situations that you've heard from other victims. So at the same time, I mean, you would just automatically assume that yes, that could happen. That maybe could be the next thing that would happen to someone. But I mean, to be honest with you, all of these things, like I think the funny thing is people talk about and he urinated and oh man, and he urinates on his okay, let me explain something to you. There are a lot of sexual people that are into a lot of weird ass
Weird
shit.
shit.
Guess what? You might not like it, but there are some people out there that like it and they're okay with it. So I think the thing that's interesting was back then you would have never heard of no stuff like that. Or maybe if you did, it was a real quiet thing. But today, I mean, does anything surprise you sexually? Like if you
No.
heard that, would that surprise
Not
you?
today. No. No.
Exactly.
But I heard of the golden shower.
Yeah, they actually got the
Years
name.
ago.
That is.
Years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not. It's been going on for ages.
Yeah.
So you know, it's something like you said. Some people like it, some don't.
Yeah. And like I said, I guess the hard part about it is just keep reminding yourself it was a little girl.
That's the hardest part.
The hard part. Because
Hard part.
my thing is this, and what kind of pulls you out of that, reminding yourself that, is the action of what she was doing. So it's hard to call somebody a little girl having sex. Like that's just it's very difficult to identify or to have sympathize on that same level. Like okay, like I said, she was being taken advantage of mentally, and that's how that happened. But either way, this wasn't something, as you heard on the interviews, this wasn't something that was a one-time thing. This happened for years. Even after the tape. Well, so it's kind of like, how do you
some of this is still going on?
Yeah.
But the thing is though, is that there, like you said, there are some people who have a hard time separating the fact that since it's been going on, that they can't identify that this girl was a child,
right? Because
she was performing an adult act. Okay. I'm just not one of those. Okay. I just don't see it as just because it's still going on or because she had performed these acts with this man for so long that I don't see her as a child. I still see
she's still a child.
She's
still under the age of what, consensual?
Yeah. So
she's still a child.
Exactly.
She's walking in a woman's shoes.
Yeah.
And doesn't even have the mind of a woman.
Well, and that's how I also felt about Aaliyah too, because if you notice, even with the interviews, they were saying we groomed her, we molded her. She didn't have this style. And the bad thing was you groomed the little girl into a woman in front of a man.
Exactly.
And that was what's her face?
Sparkle.
Yeah. But see, this is the thing. This is the conversation I have with a lot of people nowadays. Back then, I can't understand that because she looked like a little girl. All those girls
all look like children.
Now let's understand this. Let's look at the little girls today. You have girls today that have bodies like grown women. Now, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said there have been plenty of times where I have seen a young lady and you don't know how old she is, and then you find out and you're like, oh shit.
Exactly. That reaction right there is what you should have had.
But watch this. The real man inside you is supposed to say, okay, nah, hell no. Okay, I'm done. And don't even look, and you're supposed to just let it go. But I'll be honest with you. It's not too many men that will do that, especially if her booty is real big. Most men continue to look, and that's the sad thing.
And the thing is that in a lot of ways, I understand what it is to be uncomfortable at that age and a grown man is looking at you.
Yeah.
You know, well, Yvonne knows my good friend and girlfriend. Well, she's like a sister. We grew up together. We stayed, around the corner from each other, really close. Every day we were together, and every day either I'd walk to her house or she'd walk to mine. We'd end up walking back and forth together. And it was this man that lived across the street on the block, and we would come up, and he saw me since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I had gotten to be maybe about 13 years old. We're walking down and up and down the street. And he says something to me, and I can't tell you what it was today, what he said, but it left me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it left me uncomfortable enough to remember that today.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know what it's like to be a child and a grown man says something or approaches you in a manner that is totally unacceptable. And that's why I think with this particular story, it strikes me so badly because I know what it's, I don't know what it's like to be, you know, with an older man at that age. No, but I know the discomfort that is there. And I'm not sure if I understand why these young women in this case didn't feel a discomfort to not be around this grown man when certain things were happening.
Because they thought they were going to be a star.
And not only that, I mean, you gotta look at the level of stardom he has. You know, we're not talking about a regular person. We're talking about somebody that was at the top of his game. I mean, the saddest thing about it is all these people talked about him and said all this stuff. But if you notice,
nobody believed it.
But when they talked about his music, they called him a genius.
Yeah.
So it lets you know that they were so mesmerized by him. It's like it put them in a bad situation. Like, okay, like, I mean, should I be doing? I know I shouldn't, but it's him. I guess I should just go along with it. And that's the sad part about it, because sometimes when you're at a certain level in your career, the sky's the limit. You can pretty much get away with anything. I mean, hell, even I've heard of celebrities that go to the Playboy Mansion and they doing all type of wild stuff now because
so
that they got in their career.
So I have a question. Now, Hugh Hefner had all types of women.
Yeah.
He had all ages.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, he died before the Me Too movement started.
Yeah.
But
he got out.
He got out of it.
Look, don't make me act stupid right now.
Huh?
I'm gonna be rest in peace. Don't make me act stupid right now. I almost did something stupid. I can't disrespect that, man. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, how he did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Hefner had all kind of young women up in that mansion.
Yeah, but this is the thing too, and you know, we can talk about celebrities all day long, but we can also talk about politicians that have done it. We can talk about the priests that are doing it. I mean, there's a lot of people out here that are doing it. You know, R. Kelly is right now pretty much, like I said, he hanging from the cross at this moment. He is him. Yeah. He is the guy for the I won't say the cross, but I will say he is the poster child of this as of right now.
Yes.
But this isn't anything new. And the saddest thing about it is, well, the thing that I'm happy about is they have started opening up the investigation.
Right.
So,
yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, because we're coming down to 10 minutes left in the show. So I wanted to try and ask you guys, where do you think that this is going now that you've got a docuseries that has laid all of his life on the all out there for the world to see, and to bring these things up that have been going on for 20 years, still going on, because you got two girls who are still out there and they haven't seen their parents in respectively 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
you know, there was one of the jurors from his trial 10 years ago. He said that the reason why he voted not guilty was because he didn't believe those young people.
That's what's sad.
It was. He said,
to be honest with you, I think they were paid, because it should have been an open.
I think, you know what, and that crossed my mind too, because you have a tape that's showing him having sex with this child.
Yeah.
But they find him not guilty.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money this man got left.
Well,
because he's paying off a lot of parents.
Yes, he is.
There's a lot of parents that are not coming forward.
But, and that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, because the justice system is supposed to work alone, okay, as the justice system. But you've got money involved, and then who knows? Maybe someone paid off, like this little girl that was 12 years old, 12 or 13, that he urinated in her mouth. How much money was paid to that
Well,
family?
he had to have, because the mother said, "That's not my daughter."
Exactly.
Yep, the mother and the dad.
And the
I
niece,
hope said it wasn't that.
Yes.
it is.
Mhm.
You see? So that's where our justice system has failed, because no matter what, the justice system for these young women, these young girls, should have worked,
Yeah.
whether they step forward or not, because the identity of that young girl at 12, 13 years old she was identified by her aunt, who would know her better.
But her
But
own mom,
the
her
one
own
that
dad said it wasn't her.
that turned her out to him.
Yeah.
Her aunt is the one that turned. She may have regretted introducing her to
That's
Rob,
yeah.
but she knew what Rob was doing. She knew
Yeah.
what R. Kelly was doing.
Well, let
Yeah.
me
There
ask
was
you
no
this
way
question.
she could not have known. What?
Do you feel like, because I mean, you seen when they got to the part when she said how she saw the video, do you think her reaction was what a normal person's reaction should be? Because in my eyes, it looked like guilt. It looked more like she
Well,
knew.
yeah, because she
It
kept
was.
saying that.
Hmm?
She kept saying that.
Yeah,
It wasn't
was
about I
guilt.
shouldn't have introduced them. It was like I fucked up and I should have stopped that a long time ago.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
But have you guys heard any rumors talking about R. Kelly is suing, I guess, Lifetime,
Yes.
and he also has a series he's talking about coming out talking about surviving the lies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. But you know
But
what? Before the docuseries actually was aired, he was saying that he was going to sue. Now, if he chooses to do that, that means he opens up this can of worms, and he opens up his life for them to come in and just get all kind of evidence. And the evidence, a lot of that evidence, I'm sure, is still in the house that he had vacated. The one in Atlanta, because he lost that house. So, but it still stands. Nobody's moved in it. They haven't done anything to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the evidence will probably still be there. So I don't think.
Did you hear that his record sales has soared?
That's
really?
what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought people would stop listening to it.
They
Mm-mm.
R. Kelly.
Hold on. So let me ask you that question then, because that was a big topic this week too. So now that you've seen all of this, you've done all your interview or your investigation and all of that, where do you stand on listening to his music?
You know, I haven't. That
was a big topic this week.
Yeah, I really haven't, and I just.
I mean, I still have his music,
but you know what? It just sounds different now. Yeah. It just sounds different, and even though that this is something that we know that had been going on for so long, it wasn't so in your face.
Right.
This time, when we hear about it in its totality.
Right.
So it's like pushed in your face.
But you know, there are so many of his fans that will not believe that he's guilty of this. Right. He's got so many people behind him that I don't know where it's going to end up. And
so you still will listen to his music?
I don't know. I haven't listened to it since all this, but I am not one huge R. Kelly fan.
No, because it was only one that I really liked, and that was "Step in the Name of Love." But
I'm gonna tell y'all like this.
You know that the radio stations have basically pulled his music.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you like this. There's a lot of babies made because of his music. R. Kelly had some of the best music when it comes to just sex, life, and to be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of his. But I'm choosing not to listen to his music anymore. And I mean, like I said, it's not me saying that he did it, even though I feel like to a certain extent this is his lifestyle. But this is just me saying I'm not going to support him. I need to pull back and look at other people, listen to other music. There's a lot of other artists out there. And it's sad because, like I said, he has some great albums that I listen to all day at work. But I can't do it, though.
Because it sounds different.
Yeah.
It sounds different now. It just does. And to me, I can't, in good faith and in good conscience, I cannot sit on this show tonight and bash him and then go listen to his music.
Right.
Because like I said, for years we've known what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But with it now so in your face, and then you've got all of the details that are coming out there, things that we hadn't heard before. Some of we hadn't heard from. We knew that he had married Aaliyah at 15. We knew that he had, a certain liking for young girls, but we didn't know the extent of what we've heard. Now, whether it is true or not, we don't know, but it does cast some doubt into who he is as a person. And then if you are then going to support him and support his music and his craft, that says you're condoning what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do that in good faith of who I am as a woman.
You know what? A lot of people are saying this is a sick MF, and why don't somebody get him some help? Why didn't somebody talk to him?
Excuse me.
Why didn't somebody talk to him? Somebody in his camp talked to him years ago. So his brother, well, they all sick too.
Look, I saw a brother. His brother was in jail giving advice.
But wait a minute. Hold on. Now, did you hear when he said, this is what stuck out in my mind with this idiot. So, did you hear when he said that R. Kelly offered Carrie $10,000 to, just let it go away, not say nothing, do this, that, and the other, not even be a part of, this Lifetime series. He said, oh, well, shoot, he could have been rich.
Hey, it was $100,000.
No, it's $100,000.
But yeah, $100,000. I'm like, what the hell? That there tells you that there was a cover up from beginning to end.
Did you hear him also say that, hell, I like older women and he like younger women? So
that was the stupidest shit I ever heard in my
life.
God. Hey, he talking about, some people like to steal, and I like to steal too. This is why I'm here. Like, come on, like I said, hey, he was weird, and like it was a lot of stuff about him I thought was creepy. You can just tell something wrong with it.
That's why I say that he was part of the molestation going on in that house.
And now that you say that, I would agree to that.
Now you kind of agree?
Yeah.
Oh,
like I said,
God.
First off, I had already said, okay, he likes men. I can see that right off the bat. You can just tell his mannerisms and how just his whole demeanor. So now that you say that, like, I wouldn't have said that in the beginning because, and see, this is why I was telling people, don't get brainwashed by this show. Yes, there is probably a lot of truth behind it, but don't just believe everything on it. At the end of the day, we probably will never find out about most of this shit. And it's not our job to find out about it.
Right.
But either way, just keep your eyes open and just understand that something funny is there. And you got to make some changes with who this person is. If you're going to support him, or if you're going to back off and say, you know what, I can't support somebody like this.
Right. Wow.
But I still think that he needs psychiatric help.
He does.
He really needs some kind. They can send him to jail, but it's not going to change what's already happened. But he needs to get some kind of psychiatric help.
I think it's too late. I think it's way too late. He's been doing this for so long and it's gotten so much.
You can't change that.
It's too late. To be honest with you, and I think the thing I was most worried about, I thought this show, all of these shows and for how long they were pretty dangerous because I said, you can force this man to kill himself. Or possibly have his kids kill themselves because of all of this attention and all of this flack. I thought that show was pretty dangerous. And I thought that they should have maybe not done that many shows. You could have did 2 shows and pretty much got all that out. But to do that many, I've never seen somebody get ridiculed that hard.
But see, the thing is I don't think it was a matter of content because we knew the content. Yeah. I think and we knew the content. If you had never known the story of R. Kelly, you would know the content within those first two shows, right?
Mhm.
But I think what they were trying to do is just like in the courtroom, when someone has been unjustly killed, their lives is taken away, their family is able to make an impact statement.
Mhm.
They were allowing these individual women the opportunity and the time to make impact statements, because that's what those were.
Yeah.
Because those are the kind of things you hear in a courtroom when
Mhm.
someone says, this is what you've done by killing my loved one. This is what you've done by raping my loved one. Those
Mhm.
are impact statements. So it wasn't necessarily the content, because
Yeah.
we knew the content in the beginning. Because every episode, it was basically adding another woman.
And that's pretty much all they kept doing.
Yep.
Okay, so the thing is there a statute of limitation on this?
There is.
Mm-hmm.
There is.
So all of the ones that came on the documentary, their statute has run out.
Yes.
Their time has run out.
Yes.
So now what they're trying to do is they're trying to locate this girl that's still with him, that says that she is not being abused.
It's two of them that are still with him. It's two, because you've got two families. One, they went to Chicago to the studio where he has the rooms.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had the police out there trying to get the police to, go into the location. They said it was nothing they could do. One girl actually came to the window
Mm-hmm.
in the top floor. They thought was the daughter, but they couldn't be for sure. So there are two women still there. But if he's
I
got
thought that was BS, to be honest with you.
huh?
I thought that was BS, to be honest with you. You feel like your daughter is in that room. And the funny thing is, the mother even went out of her way to say, because I'll go to jail. Ain't broke
Well, go to jail and do what you got to do.
Hey, ain't broke not a nail window on that building. She throwing little rocks talking about, if my daughter's in there, I don't care. I'll go to jail. Bullshit.
Oh, that was just.
I would have rented a bulldozer to get my child out of there.
You run your
And that
car straight
other
through there and
woman-
you go to jail. You
Yeah.
run your car through it and you go to jail.
Yeah.
That other woman that went to the hotel room, I thought she was so fucking fake. I mean, I looked at her, she's over there, not a tear rolling down her face.
Yep. Yep. So, we know it's out there. We know that, he's a pedophile. Okay. He's a creep.
Mm-hmm.
He is a creep. He is a tarnish on our society. He is a tarnish on mankind.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just a matter of what can be done, because he's going to continue this behavior if he's not put away.
And I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't think he's going to be put away.
I saw someone say they think he's going to end up like Bill Cosby.
Like Bill Cosby.
I think that he will, because it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have to have, the district attorney has to have somebody come up and say that, I mean, that's credible right now.
Hold on, but watch this. You have to understand, this is bigger than what we've really discussed tonight. I mean, you had so many allegations within this that have to be investigated. They literally said that the police was in on this. So there's so many different things that have to be looked at this point. It's not going away because they put it out there into the public audience. So now they have to take this serious. So I don't honestly think that he's going to get away with it. I think that they will be reviewing phone records from police officers. They're going to do so much that somebody is going to go down.
Well, see, the thing is also, I mean, because it's like they've got a save face, that we know that. But see, now you've got all of these different organizations, the Me Too movement, all these different organizations who are now calling law enforcement to the carpet. They are calling for a result into why he has not been prosecuted. They are doing everything in their power to make sure that he doesn't have a place that he can work. He can't do any shows. Nobody wants to work with him. They run in the gamut on making sure that they can pull this man down in every fiber. That's what they're making sure that they can do. But you've got these organizations that are going to push for them to look forward because they're saying straight out, Black women's lives don't matter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's pushed real hard right now.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So they don't have a choice but to go after it because it's going to make society take a look at, do Black women's lives matter?
But the problem is all them non-disclosures he had them sign, R. Kelley sitting back talking about good luck.
But however, you're talking about non-disclosures that were signed by minors.
I think the parents were involved too. I
don't think his attorneys would have the children sign.
Exactly. Because remember, and that was what was interesting. They said that when they started doing the investigation, there were already multiple investigations within it, but the cases were dropped because they were settled outside. So to let you know, with all of these non-disclosures he's had them sign, you're not going to really find too many people that can actually step up without being sued.
But that is why it's so important that they get to those other two ladies that are still left in the house. Or, see, we don't even know if those are the only two.
Right.
We don't know.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. We'll find out. Oh, my gosh. We are so over time, you guys.
I'm looking at my battery. I said, look, I'm going to pick up this phone in a minute if I have to. Look, but I'm going to hold it steady and act like it's still sitting like normal. That 7% started looking real scary.
Good show, you guys. This was a good one.
Yes, it is.
I'm really glad that we came back with, a topic that was really, really hitting the news and hitting the media. So thank you, Chris. And it's so good to have you with us. And we're going to have a good time with you.
Yes.
Till April. Right?
You gonna have me because I ain't going nowhere. I done moved in your house, kicked my shoes off. I got orange juice in your refrigerator with my name on it.
Okay, first of all, did you drink out of that orange juice carton?
Sure did. I took the shit out, went just like this.
Hey, you can have that shit. Oh my gosh. So wait, let me get now. Michelle Polk, you know who that is, right?
Yeah.
She says, great show, had fun, but still like his music.
Hey, and don't let nobody judge you for it. At the end of the day, your stance is your stance. So what it is.
Right. Because we're not going to judge.
Nah, I'm going to talk some shit. You already know me. Look, especially that person that said, y'all, I'm not listening to y'all. Good. But you're watching. Turn your volume up. Talk about they ain't listening, but they watching. What's wrong with you?
Oh my God. So as you know, and you can tell, we are going to have fun with Chris here because he does not have a filter. It's going to be a lot of times after the shows are ended, I'll be in Chris's inbox or on his phone saying, Chris, did you have to say that? Yeah.
Look, here go that 3%. Look, this is where we pick it up.
Okay.
This is where we pick it up. We can't let it in like that. I can't just fall off the scene.
So we're going to get out of here. Great show, you guys. Thank you, everyone, for looking and watching and commenting. We really enjoyed your comments. And I'm hoping that you'll come on back here next week. Next week on Wednesday night, Hot Topics Talk Radio TV with me, Toni Breedlove, Yvonne Baker, Chris Smith, right here on Hot Topics Talk Radio. Make sure that you head on over to our webpage at hottopictalkradio.com. You can catch up on tonight's show if you missed anything or any past shows. Also, coming back next week on Tuesday night is who is it? Real World News TV, starting at 5:30 p.m. Pacific and 8:30 on the East Coast with Coast with Shara Ann Tappan and Reggie Kearney. So make sure that you come on back, check out the shows here on Hot Topics Talk Radio Network. You've been great. We love you. We're going to say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
See
night.
you guys next week. Good night, ladies.
Good night, Chris.
Do
Good
your
night,
best to sleep
Yvonne.
without thinking about me all night. You
John.
need to rest.
Good night, John Boy. You know you're still recording, right? Oh my God. All right, y'all. Good night. I'm taking you down.
See you next week.
Good night. Hot Topics Talk Radio TV. We are clear. Thanks for listening and watching in tonight, everybody. We love you. Good night.